Hi everybody, it's a Regional Master Instructor Luke Graham back again today. I'm going to do a couple of videos over the next couple of days on particular topics sort of outside of general training, because I've had a few requests from people and there's a few things that I think are very important and that are probably worth doing a few videos on. Today I'm going to talk about the tenets of Ree TaeKwon-Do. The tenets, very simply, are courtesy, integrity, self-control, perseverance, and indomitable spirit. I probably give a talk in class about every 6 months or so on the tenets, and the reason I do that is just to help to remind particularly the younger members, but sometimes the older members as well, of the bigger picture. It is easy to get bogged down in just trying to get the perfect punch, the perfect side kick, proper hip action, enough of equilibrium, or enough of landing your mass at the right timing, all those little things. You can get bogged down in that, but back when the art of Taekwondo was first formally started, it was for peaceful purposes, for unifying Korea and unifying people and giving them a positive purpose post-World War II to try and have something that was theirs and that was good. So it's not just kicking and punching. Certainly the roots of the art are, as a martial art, are in defence and self-defence and military, but I guess if I use the term the domesticated version of the art, it's certainly a lot about self-improvement. So the tenets are important, and if you think about those 5 terms, none of them really involve punching and kicking. They're all about you as a person. So let's just run through them and have a think about each one. Firstly, courtesy. Courtesy, obviously just being courteous towards other people. In the dojang, you walk into the dojang, you take off your shoes, you bow to the flag, you go and find your branch instructor and you bow to them. You bow to the other instructors and you bow to the other black belts. Something that a lot of people don't do, and it is part of our Ree TaeKwon-Do etiquette, and it's courteous behaviour. So within the dojang as well, whenever we spar people or do an exercise with people, when you bow at the end you say thank you. If you hit someone in the dojang during sparring, accidentally hit someone, you might strike them to the face. First thing you do is stop, apologise, and at the end of that round of sparring you just check on their welfare and make sure they're okay. So you're showing courtesy towards that person. When you get home, the way that you show courtesy, of course, is just please and thank you. Those are the most simple things in the world. Please and thank you, and of course, sorry. So you're showing courtesy towards other people and being mindful of the feelings of other people in the way you interact with them. And if you're mindful of the feelings of other people and the way you interact with them, you are pretty much assured of displaying courtesy. Next is integrity. When I ask people to describe integrity to me, I get a lot of interesting and some very, very good answers to the question. If you think about integrity, just think about what's inside you. Integrity and courtesy could be tied a little bit together, I guess you could think about it. If your behaviour is honest towards other people, if you are honest about yourself, saying, am I trying to be a good person, or am I ignoring that I could be a better person? Are you giving to other people, or are you just taking and using other people? These are things that would lack integrity, of course. You want to be a person who gives as well as receives, so that what's inside you, the things that make you up, are positive things that help to build everyone around you as well as yourself. People often talk about self-respect. When I ask people about the tenets, they often bring up self-respect. And in integrity, self-respect is an important element in there, because if you do have respect for yourself, then you are more likely to act in a way that shows integrity. If you are a person who does not have self-respect, then you won't think that it's important to be a good citizen. And if you're trying to be a good citizen and you respect yourself and you respect the other people around you, then you are more likely to act with integrity. Next, we need to talk about self-control. Self-control is a really important one. Obviously, we always talking to the kids in our dojang, the younger members, about self-control. We get some kids come into class, they might be a little bit hungry, a little bit tired, or they're just excitable people. And sometimes the way they interact with other people can lack self-control. You might get some of the younger students who are always grabbing people. It's a thing with young kids, it's just grabbing the person next to them, grabbing their friend, pushing and shoving, poking their friends, sometimes a cheeky kick to one of their mates. And a lot of people don't appreciate that, and that stuff can build up to a bit of a crescendo where you need to intervene. So when I'm talking to people about self-control, when I pull up someone on their behaviour, I'll often say to them, "What's the rule at school?" And they'll say, oh, hands off, feet off. And I say, well, the same rule applies here. Hands off, feet off. And the other thing I say to them is, you've got to be the boss of your own body. So you be the boss of your body. Now, that thing that kids say, "You're not the boss of me," that's quite correct. You're not the boss of me. I'm the boss of my own body, and I need to take responsibility for my own physical actions. We also need to take responsibility for our own emotions. So try to control, for kids trying to control any angry outbursts, trying to control emotion from the point of view that it's good to show emotion, but from the point of view of being excessively emotional in class to the degree where it's disruptive. That's something where with possibly some counselling from a parent or from you or a counsellor, they can learn to express emotion in a way that's probably more fitting within the dojang. So self-control is very important, and we need to make sure that our members do maintain self-control so that class is not disrupted. Because remember, when we come together to train, we might have 10, 20, 30, 50 students in our dojang. You need those people to all have control over themselves so that the class can move on. If they lack self-control, then class really turns into a rabble. Out in society, of course, self-control is still very important, because if you lack self-control, if you act on impulse all the time, you're more likely to lose friendships, lose relationships, and come into contact with the criminal justice system. So self-control is a very important tenet to try and adhere to. The next thing I want to talk about is perseverance. And perseverance is that idea of don't give up. A lot of the military organisations have done studies on human endurance, and the one thing that they always come up with, and is very, very well proven, is that the mind will give up before the body. For instance, if you're if you're walking upstairs 2 at a time, if you're walking up a steep hill, if you're doing push-ups, if you're doing something that is taxing your body creates a pain response, and I'm talking about a mild pain response here. I'm not talking about sharp pain that indicates injury. I'm talking about like aching knees, or aching knuckles if you're doing knuckle push-ups, or you're climbing a rope, the rope's hurting your hands a little bit. I'm not talking about cutting your hands, but just hurting a bit. That's your body trying to say to your mind, "Oh, I'm working a bit now," and your mind says, "Oh, good, time to switch off, time to stop." The mind will always give up first, whereas the body will always go longer. One of the tricks that I play, if I'm doing something, whether it's push-ups, whether it's weight training, I do a lot of weight training, you're working through a set and it's starting to get hard, I'll start counting in another language, or I'll start counting backwards. Or rather than saying I'm going to do 20 reps of something or other, I'll count the first 10 and then I'll count them in groups of 5. Or I'll count the first 10, then count the second 10 backwards, just weird things like that. And all you're doing is just playing tricks on your mind, because you know your body can do it. You're just playing tricks on your mind to help your mind get through to the end of that set. In the dojang, that's the sort of thing you need to do. We get people asking for a drink break sometimes, and I know that in our dojangs we do give relatively frequent drink breaks, particularly if it's warm, or we need to do a changeover of exercises. But you'll get people ask for a drink break during an exercise, and my general response to that is, we'll be finished shortly. And I'm just playing with their mind there and saying to them, we'll finish shortly. I know how long it is till we finish. You don't, and I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm just playing a trick with your mind and saying, we'll finish shortly. And what will happen then is the student will go back, finish the exercise, no complaints at all, and then they get their drink break. So remember, the mind will always take the easy way out before the body gives up. We certainly wouldn't ask a student to train into injury or to train into a point of dehydration. The last of the tenets to talk about is indomitable spirit. When I ask people what indomitable means, very simply, don't let anyone dominate you. So if we're talking about a bullying context, someone wants to bully you, they want to dominate you. I am not going to allow that person to dominate me because my spirit is indomitable. So it's having that courage that comes from self-belief and comes from an understanding of justice that says, I won't allow this person or this situation to unjustly dominate me. That doesn't mean that if, for instance, you come into contact with your parents, your teacher, the police, member of government, etc., who is justly trying to give you direction, that you wouldn't follow them. That's normal. But I'm talking about a bullying situation or a situation where something is unjust and you need to assert yourself to advocate for yourself. When I say advocate, for the younger members, when I say advocate, it's saying if I don't speak up on my own behalf, nobody else will. So there are times in life where no one else is there to stick up for you, and you have to stick up for yourself. That's called advocating for yourself. And if you display indomitable spirit, you will advocate for yourself at those times in life when you should. Because there are times when people might accuse you of something incorrectly. There are times when someone might ask you to do something that is immoral or illegal, or something that's just not fair for them to ask you to do. And those are the times when you've got to say, no, I'm not going to do that, or you've got to stop a person acting in a physical manner towards you by defending yourself, however you choose to defend yourself. It might just be walking away. Indomitable spirit might be a case of just putting your hand up, turning around and walking away, because you've just refused to take whatever that person's feeding you and just turn your back and walk away on them. That is displaying indomitable spirit. You're not going to stand there and be abused or stand there and be told something that's unfair or unjust. You're just going to exit the scene. So the tenets are very simple, 5 of them: courtesy, integrity, self-control, perseverance, and indomitable spirit. What I'd like you to do is make sure that you have an understanding of each of those, and if there's something that you want to discuss further, ask your branch sabong, ask another black belt, ask your parents or ask your teacher. But remember, these are the things that we try and teach you, the qualities that we're trying to help you to understand as members, so that in the dojang and outside of the dojang, your behaviour makes you a better member of society. Because Ree TaeKwon-Do is not just punching and kicking, it's about becoming a better member of society and a contributing member of society. I look forward to seeing you all next time. Have a good day.